Welcome to Storytimer at Large. Sheri Rene Herr. Sheri Rene Herr lived near Warren, Indiana, southwest of Fort Wayne. She was born on May 31st, 1971, to Richard and Connie Herr. That was Memorial Day, and in fact, it was the first official Memorial Day. That's kind of hard to believe, but yeah, 1971 was the first official Memorial Day. Sheri had two brothers, Jeff and Bruce. They were older brothers. The family lived in a rural farming area at 8565 West 900 South. It's about halfway between Montpelier, Indiana, and Warren, Indiana. It sits to the east of Interstate 69. Sheri went to Southern Wells High School and was an active teen. She was on the volleyball team, the track team, and sang in the choir. She was a member of the Sunshine Society. She graduated in May of 1989. Sheri had a fiancé. She was working and looking forward to the future. She was also attending Ivy Tech College in Fort Wayne and working part-time at Arata Medical Center in Fort Wayne. So she was a very busy young lady. On Friday, the 13th of October, 1989, Sheri was at home. She had work later in the day at Arata Medical Center. Her parents had left for work around 9 or before. Sometime between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., someone entered this home and killed Sheri. She was beaten with an object and stabbed in the throat with a pair of scissors. She suffered a depressed skull fracture. When Sheri did not make it to work and phone calls by her coworkers were going unanswered, they called her father. Her dad left work to check on Sheri and found her there. It sounds like Sheri's coworkers were either very close and friendly or were very worried, possibly both. Was there a reason that they were worried immediately? In 1989, most teens and young adults just got written up or fired for a no-call, no-show. Sheri must have been very punctual and a very steady and well-liked employee. People should be safe and secure in their own homes. This was a brazen daytime killing. Police got a tip about a dark red Camaro having been in the area. It was said to be mid to late 1970s era Camaro with darker stripes over the hood, top, and back. The back end was possibly raised and possibly had a spoiler. That sort of fan blade shaped thing across the back supposedly helps with speed, I think. The FBI got involved at the request of local law enforcement, and their investigation determined that Sheri probably knew her killer. They did not see this as the work of the stranger. According to the FBI, Sheri's murder was brutal. It was overkill. The person who did this had a lot of hatred and anger and emotion. Was Sheri sexually assaulted? It seems that she was not. The FBI profile stated several very interesting facts. There was no indication that the killer was male or female. So this killer could have been a man or it could have been a woman. The killer probably had not killed before. The killer probably did not go to the house with the intent of killing someone. The killing likely resulted from an argument. I imagine that police at the time investigated her fiancé and any other old boyfriends. Who else was in her circle now at that time? Was this someone who worked at Arata Medical Center? Was this someone who also attended Ivy Tech? Was this someone that Sheri had gone to high school with? Did Sheri have a stalker? Could this killer have been a woman? Women do kill. Was there a classmate or young woman who had some quarrel, real or imagined, with Sheri? Sometimes even family members can be the most passionate about fighting with a person. So, it's important to not rule out any of her family members, I think, male or female. When I was in high school, girl fights were some of the most violent fights. People assume that women and girls can't be violent and brutal, but sometimes they can. In 1982, Shanda Scherer was viciously killed by 4 young women in Madison, Indiana, who were supposedly her friends. She was beaten, sexually assaulted, and set on fire while still alive. And sadly, her case is not unique. I'm not saying here that the perpetrator is female in this case, but it seems like a good idea to consider it. Sheri was a pretty and popular girl. Sometimes there are rivalries. Sometimes people get jealous. Who knew that Sheri was at home that day? Was her car visible from the road? What was Sheri's home life like? Were her parents strict? Were they lenient? Were they abusive? Were they, what was their relationship like? Sheri would be in her 50s now if she had lived. Those of us, like myself, who have gotten to this age are enjoying watching our children grow up and maybe even have children of their own. Sheri should be here. Sheri should be experiencing those things that women in their 50s get to experience. In 1998, Sheri's father, Richard, passed away without ever knowing who killed his only daughter. Sheri's family has waited a long time for justice. Someone knows who killed Sheri. Probably more than one person knows. People talk. Over the years, perhaps someone has overheard a confession. Relationships and loyalties change. You may have seen something or heard something that did not seem related or important in the past. Maybe you've realized the significance of that now. You may have a tip that could help solve this case. If you have information, please call the Indiana State Police Cold Case Investigators at 1-800-552-0976 or 260-432-8. Oh, I don't have the correct phone number there. I'm going to have to fix that. Let's go with that first phone number, 800-552-0976. Rest in peace, Sheri Rene Herr. I think about Sheri a lot. She was a high school kid, just graduated from high school that year. She was doing everything right, She was involved in all the activities at school that she was interested in. She was going to school, going to college now, working toward a career, working and earning her own money. She had also been, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, she had done some restaurant work, and so quite a lot of people knew her, had been waited on her at a local restaurant that she worked at. And so, she's doing all of the things that are correct, right? She's not out, when people do a lot of victim blaming, they often say, oh, they were out at a dangerous place. They should have known better than to go there. Or they were with a bad crowd. Or they were this, they were that. And we should never blame victims. No one is ever responsible for their own murder, no matter what. The fault always lies with the killer. But Sheri was at home. She was in her own home. And someone came in. There were no signs of forced entry. The person that came into that house came in and according to the FBI profile, didn't intend to kill Sheri that day. The FBI felt that this was the result of an argument or some sort of anger about something like that. You know, some sort of someone that Sheri knew that was angry at her for some reason. So I think about Sheri a lot. Yeah. I hope that her murder can be solved. It's been a long, long time. And Sheri had a lot of friends. A lot of people cared about Sheri, cared about her so much. And I know that they're all waiting for justice in this case, for an answer in this case. So hopefully someone will come forward. Rest in peace, Sheri Rene Herr.